Welcome to Soul Hygiene by yours truly, Matena, right? That's my name. So, I want us to talk about something really interesting. So, guys, what I want us to do is to, this is our channel. So your opinions are the only things that matter, and please chip them in, comment, do whatever that you want to do with this channel. Like, just do whatever you want to do. It's yours. And the only thing that we will maybe not tolerate is anything that seeks to break down others. Whatever that we do with love, right? So yeah, let's get to it. Let's talk about building yourself up. How do you build yourself up? One of the things that I've been thinking about lately is the issue of building your craft, right? Maybe the issue of building your craft if you're an artist, or maybe saying building your business if you're a businessman, entrepreneur, or maybe whatever that you're trying to build up, right? And it's very interesting because we usually say build, like work on your craft, perfect your craft, right? What does that mean? It means if you are an artist, you are a rapper, focus more on being a better rapper than putting yourself out there. Like, focus more on the work, and then from there your work will speak, right? And I found a better way to actually get better, like a much better way, as compared to working on your craft, like something that would automatically improve your craft, but most importantly improve you as a person, right? And thanks to Vision Lakiani, yeah, if I'm pronouncing it right. But yeah, because he's the one who actually got me into thinking about this kind of thing, and I actually proved it to be right in my own life, because everything that I do, I test with myself, right? So think about it this way: if you want to improve your computer, right, your laptop, if you want to improve its general performance, there are quite a few things that you can do. You can buy maybe a new RAM, a bigger RAM. You can maybe increase the size of your hard drive, but the main thing that you should do is to improve the central processing unit, right? If you improve that, the general performance of the computer increases. And you need to also understand that everything that a human being has ever created reflects him, because a human being was created by God, right? So everything that God created, he lives himself in that thing. It's by default, right? So hence, even you, when you create something, you leave your DNA in that thing. Example, if you are brain dead, you are dead. Like, there's nothing you can do. Same as with the car's engine. The car can be there. If the engine is dead, there's nothing that can be done to that car unless you replace the engine. But now, fortunately enough, we can transplant that engine and put in a new one, right? Which is what we can do when it comes to cars, because it's easier to work on that. It's not living, it's really a matter of calculations. But with human beings, you need something far more superior. You need superior knowledge, superior intelligence, and really you need someone who's more superior to human beings. And currently on earth, there's nothing like that. There's no one who's more superior than human beings, right? So if you want to improve on anything, you have to improve on yourself. You have to work on improving yourself. A better you is a better musician. A better you is a better engineer. So how do you get to this process of maybe working on yourself? How do you get to this process of improving yourself? Like I said, this is I prefer being pilot-like and not like structure based. I don't know why English is doing this to me, but yeah. So how do you get to building yourself up, right? How do you get to improving on yourself? You need to understand your operations as a human being, the operations of a human being, how a human being is made, is structured, right? A human being is made up of I want to keep it as basic as possible, right? So we usually say, let's just build on that. And there's still more deeper content coming. Let's just, like, take it slow. But let's just build on what we almost all believe, that a human being is a soul, spirit, and body, right? And when we say the spirit, we're talking about the self, we're talking about the God in you. And I do not want to say, I don't want to be controversial for now. Let's just keep it simple, right? So we have the spirit being in you, which is one with God. When we say God lives in you, we're saying he's one with that spirit being in you, right? And then we have the soul and your mind, your will, whatever is located there, right? And then we have the body, which is the physical part, right? And we can all agree, and if you do not agree, you need to get your facts straight, that everything that happens in your life, one way or another, you manifested it. And I like a quote by Bob Proctor, the late Bob Proctor, which says, a man's greatest deception is that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. Very, very, very interesting. Because what basically that statement says is that everything that happens to you is because of your own state of consciousness, whether consciously or unconsciously. And now when it comes to the development of your consciousness, the state of your consciousness does not start to manifest when you are conscious of it. No. It begins to manifest the moment it comes into play, right? Because the moment you are born, you come on earth through a woman's womb, you have come into the world of consciousness, right? There's light. The moment you just come out. In fact, sometimes I think, because what science does is that they can you can communicate with your baby, right? It says you can connect with a baby from the womb. So now from that point, so at a certain stage of the fetus, as it develops, it starts, its consciousness starts absorbing what's outside, right? And then you come on earth, and then you start now formally being programmed into a certain being, if I may put it that way. You're given a set of rules, a certain values, whatever that they give you to make you the person that you are, right? But then the injustice of that is that when we grow, we are not now reprogrammed from that, because you have to, for the safety of this person who just came on earth, you have to school them, like you have to give them your value systems, just so you protect their physical state, right? But then when they grow up, now you have to unschool them of all that you have taught them for the preservation of their physical life, right? You have to now unschool them. But now the hard thing is that a lot of us in the world, we are not really unschooled of everything that we've been schooled from the time we're age 0 to the time where they say, now I'm releasing you into independence. So now that's like throwing you in the jungle without even arming you. You don't even know that in the jungle there's, okay, you know that there's a lion, there's a tiger, but you don't even know which side they're gonna come from. You don't know how they fight. You just know that there's a lion and there's a tiger here, right? So what should happen is that we should be taught that now there's a lion, there's a tiger. How you approach a tiger is this way, how you approach a lion is this way. Now from there, at least I am properly armed to deal with the outside world, right? So when it comes to building yourself up, you need to first of all acknowledge the fact that the person that you were when you were released into independence might not even be the real you, but it's just a manifestation of the value systems that were given to you, of the teachings that were given to you. And it's why, example, the way you interpret a whistle maybe is different from the way I interpret a whistle. If someone blows a whistle and you look back, some people would interpret that as being cheap, as like, why would you respond to someone who calls you by whistling? Whereas in certain parts of the world, when you whistle, where I come from, when you whistle, I have to look back, because I'm like, who's calling me, right? And I have to check that out. So that shows that we have different value systems, and we cannot now I think the downfall maybe even of humanity is that now we fight over this. Now you have your own interpretation of what a whistle is, and I have my own, and then we clash this. And now this is where the ego comes into place. This is what we call the ego, right? Fighting over trivial things. So now we have to get to a point where like we unschool ourselves of all those things, and we acknowledge that at our deepest level, we are nothing like that. We are nothing like that. And if you want to understand it better, Aristotle said a human being is a rational animal, right? And I found that to be very interesting and true, because if you look at how animals are, the similarities between animals and human beings, you realize that the only difference here is rationality. Is that one creature understands fully what they are doing. That's why they can be arrested, because we say you understand what you did. If you steal something, you knew what you were doing, which is, we cannot say the same for animals. A human being can decide to be celibate when the sexual urges come, and then you fight that off and you're like, I'm celibate. But with animals, when mating season comes, they have to now look for partners to mate and stuff like that. Like they operate on a subconscious level. In a way, they do not have a will. They are always on autopilot, right? They are really subjective, really not subjective, but under control. Let me put it that way. They operate on a subconscious level. And then human beings, they don't operate on a subconscious level. They fully understand what they mean. So when you build up yourself, you need to acknowledge those kind of truths about you, about your origin. Where did human beings originate from? And I'm not talking about our typical Adam and Eve story. No. Try to sit down and think. Where did we begin? Try to imagine planet Earth with just you in it alone. Like, try to imagine that, because from doing that, you're going to get a lot of answers of how a human being really is, right? You're going to get a lot of answers as to what is a human being, how a human being is, what really is loneliness, what really is being alone. You're going to understand a lot of things about purpose. And when it comes to purpose also, it's really tricky, because you spend your life chasing this thing, and you don't even realize that that's you were taught that there's something that called purpose, and you need to discover it and then live up to it. And I lived my life that way, and I found a lot of contradictions in the way, a lot of resistance in a way, right? Because you get to you say, this is my purpose, and you live out that purpose, and you get to finish line. When you get there, you realize, now this is a milestone, right? This is not a finish line. This is a checkpoint. I still need to go further. So you're like, nah, why? This thing keeps on increasing. This thing keeps on growing. This thing keeps on changing. For what? You do not know, because there's a lot of things that we human beings don't know. And now understand that the way we consume knowledge, and the way we consume information, and the kind of information that we consumed, we also need to trace or ask ourselves, where does this information come from? And I saw a tweet by Elon Musk saying, always assume that you are being manipulated, right? And even if you are not being manipulated, assume that you are. Why? Because once you do that, you question each and everything happening around you, and people are like, why do you question? But now that's how you're going to fully be independent. Imagine when you let's say maybe you meet God, you're walking to the shop and you meet God, and like God is like, where are you going? Like, I'm going to buy bread. And he's like, why are you going to buy bread? Because I have to eat. Why do you have to eat? Because it's breakfast time. Who told you that it's breakfast time? Dietitian or whatever, science, whatever. And now you can't even give an answer that comes from who you are, the way you've grown to reprogram yourself, and get to know the new self that you've reprogrammed yourself into being. So you have to fully say, I am going to buy breakfast because I have found that Matsena, prefer to eat breakfast at this time. Not because I was told this, I was told that, right? And for me, I eat once a day. Of course, sometimes maybe, let's just say out of 7 days, I'll eat twice. Out of the 7 days, 2 days of the 7 days, maybe I'll eat twice, right? because maybe I'm still trying to operate the way I've always wanted to operate. But I eat once a day because I found that that's how I am at my maximum level of productivity, right? I found that I have a very clear mind when I eat once a day, when I don't always consume food. And now when I eat once a day, I spend little time thinking about food and stuff like that and my taste buds. And what also that has done for me, it has somehow in a way reprogrammed how my taste buds work, because food to me no longer tastes the same. I no longer go to food pursuing the pleasure that food brings, right? I go there to live, because food was never a thing of, it's nice and we all always have to eat enough. Food is for survival. You eat and then you walk, you continue your journey. It's for survival. It's for your body. It's for your body, right? Already I'm speaking a lot of things about how you can program yourself. I've been speaking, this is building up yourself, and don't expect conventional way number one of no. Just listen. And also listening is very important skill, because it has that listening takes effort. When I listen, like when I'm fully paying attention to someone, I fucking listen, bro. Like I log it, I listen, I give my attention. This is a lot of work, and the more you listen, it has that what the person says, you realize that there's actually two things. There's the words that the person is speaking, and there's the spirit behind the words, or the attitude of the word. And that's how you bypass your ego, because your ego would want you to stick to the exact word that this person has been saying, or this person has said, and the true you would want to capture the attitude of what the attitude with which these words were spoken, or the spirit behind the words. Because don't forget that, guys, we were not born with words. Like when we first came on planet Earth, there weren't any words. We as human beings created those, right? And what are words? We are trying to describe feelings, thoughts, emotions, and stuff like that. So when you fight with someone over words, you're missing the entire point. Rather, listen 100% to try to understand what the person really wants to say from what they're trying to describe, right? You try to get what the person is trying to describe without just zoning in on the way they really wanted to say, right? So listen to what we're sharing here, and then just listen. Don't listen to oppose, don't listen to respond, don't listen to be converted, don't listen for anything like that. Listen, and then we engage, and then you drop your comments, and then I'm out.